2, 1.
What's going on? Jason Maxwell here with Online Fitness Profits. And today I got my brother from another mother, Dave Ruel, to come and teach you some of the things that he's been teaching me. Because in the past, since I met Dave almost a year ago, I've increased my productivity like crazy for my online business. And so many people are asking me all the time, like, Jason, how are you able to get so much stuff done? It's crazy how much you're able to get done. And I do have a secret weapon, and his name is Dave Ruel. And I asked him to come in today to teach you how you can create your perfect plan for your business to reach your goals in the next 90 days. And the crazy thing about this is a lot of entrepreneurs, like, they go in and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And by the end of the day, you feel like you got a lot done, but you feel like you didn't get enough done. But with this plan, you could probably get done in a year what you would normally get done in a year. You could probably get it done in 90 days. And Dave is the expert on this, and he's going to show you exactly how to do this. So I was really excited about this, not just for you guys, but also selfishly for myself, because anytime I can learn from Dave is a win for me.
Yeah, what we're going to cover today, you're pretty much know and been implementing for more than a year now. So, but I guess it's going to be a good refresher. By the way, yeah, I think we've known each other for more than a year. We met officially the first time a year ago in person. But we know,
I think it was February, right?
Yep. And
okay.
We've met, but we've known each other like virtually for quite some time now. Yeah, I've been in the space. So I've like, just to give you guys a little bit of context. I've been in this space for quite a while. So I started in the fitness space before I actually moved into business coaching and mentorship. I started in the fitness space, in the nutrition space. So if you're in the fitness space, you probably heard about anabolic cooking or metabolic cooking, the cookbooks. So I created that about 10 years ago, and these are selling even today. They're still selling. But I was one of the early guys, if you want, in the fitness marketing space online. And there was only a handful of guys like at the time. And one thing led to another. Was I was then involved with like a publishing company. So pretty much like when people saw what I was doing, other experts, they came to me and they were like, Dave, I love what you're doing. I want to do the same thing. Can you help me out? So then I was partnering up with these experts and helping them, put their names and products online. And I did that for quite some time. And then like it caught the attention of a supplements company who wanted to, same thing, do increase their online sales. I got involved with them, bought shares of the company, and eventually turned things around for them and sold that company. And from there, I was pretty much, so after like founding three successful 7-figure companies, I kind of accidentally, well, not accidentally, but it was more like out of request from different people, went into coaching. So that's what I do now. I wouldn't say full time because it's something that with Ethic, the company that I've developed, we'd still develop the training and the coaching for entrepreneurs to help them be more efficient, but also involved with my companies and other companies as well, because I just love the game of business and building stuff. That's what entrepreneurs do, right? So with Epic, the thing that I realized, and first I solved it for the problem for myself, was how do I stay focused and how do I actually get shit done without burning out and without being scattered all over the place. Initially I did like most entrepreneurs do, having the shiny object syndrome, trying to do too many things. And eventually, you end up not doing anything. So I had to learn how to focus, learn how to, prioritize and do that. Plus, I mean, I'm happily married to my wife, Corinne, for the past 6 years now. And I'm a father of 2 little girls. So I was kind of forced as well to be a lot more organized and a lot more productive and efficient with my time. Other than that, on me, I'm a former bodybuilder. So as I said, I started in the fitness marketing space, but because I was involved in the fitness industry, I did multiple shows and competed many times. Called it quits in 2010. Well, stopped competing. I still train pretty seriously, but I mean, I don't compete or anything like that anymore. Of traveling, and if you know me, and that's the funny part, is that it has nothing to do with health. I'm a Scotch and cigar lover. So if you follow my Instagram, you probably think that I'm smoking and drink all the time, but no, it's not true.
What's your favorite cigar?
What I'm saying?
What's your favorite cigar?
Oh, dude. So it depends on, so it really depends. It keeps evolving. I'm a big fan of Cuban cigars, obviously. I love them, like I would say medium to medium full type of profile. There was one cigar that I really like and I can't find it. And it's the Cohiba Commodore, which is a collaboration between Cohiba in Dominican Republic and Jay-Z. So they had that fantastic cigar called the Commodore, and they discontinued it, I think, last year. And my favorite was the Gigante, which is a big one. It's a 6x60, and I just love it. So, I mean, there's this one. There's the H. Upmann Connoisseur A. So if you look, if you know a little bit about cigars, you probably like. I love bigger gauge cigars, and my medium to medium full profile. But yeah, that was my favorite one. But it's something. It's always something like it's a hobby for me. It's a passion. I just love it. It's just like funny that people. I get a lot. It's funny because at first in the fitness industry, like it's not something that I went publicly. I said publicly that hey, I enjoy my cigars and my whiskey, because you don't. And it was actually pretty controversial. People I got a lot of shit thrown at from people who were following me. They're like, I can't believe you're giving me health advice and you smoke cigars and you drink scotch. I was like, well, first of all, anything in moderation is not necessarily bad for you, and whatever makes you happy, in my opinion, is going to be good, something good for you. Obviously, it's all about moderation. Like, I don't smoke every day or I don't drink every day. It really depends. Like in the winter time right now, I might go, I don't know, a few weeks without even smoking a cigar, even having a whiskey, right? So.
Well, yeah, because you got to go outside to smoke the cigar, and you don't want to.
I live in Canada, so I live on the East Coast, Canadian East Coast, and it's cold and it's snowy, so obviously. So now, I mean, Ethic, that's the company that I'm focusing on now, which is my international business education company. We offer tools and trainings to help entrepreneurs and small businesses become more efficient and effective by employing better, smarter, simpler working methods and system, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. So you're probably wondering like what EFIC stands for. So it's short for two words. So first of all, efficiency, which is to accomplish something with the least waste of time, effort, and resources. Right? A lot of people talk about productivity, and productivity is great, but I would love for you guys to really understand the concept of efficiency. And I've talked to you about it, Jason, is that productivity is, it's producing pretty much as much as you can while putting as many resources as possible, right? So think about it as a machine. What you want is the output to be as much as possible, and the input is, as much as the machine can take in, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, sometimes in life where you need to, hustle hard and be very productive. What I notice and what I know is that on the long term, to be sustainable, being productive is not something that you can do all the time, consistently. However, being efficient, meaning same thing. Like if you have a machine, the output is what you want to accomplish. So the real thing, right? You and I work together on the big picture exercise is really identify, hey, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want in life? What type of projects I want to put out in the world, right? And what do I want my lifestyle to look like? And the input is using the least amount of, or just maybe the right amount of of resources. So as humans, we have, we have finite resources. We have time, energy, and attention, which are, as entrepreneurs, I would say, are three most finite resources that we have, and we have to manage them properly, right? So today I'm going to show you really how to accomplish your goals, accomplish what you want to, what you want, things that are aligned exactly with what you desire, but also while using the least amount of time, but also, while managing your energy and your attention properly, right? While staying focused exactly on your goals. The second is efficacy. So the ability to produce the desired or intended result and outcome. So as I said, like when you know exactly where you're going, you want to go, you want to use the shortest path to get there, or the best path to get there, right? And that's what I want to show you as well today. So there's 4 signs that you are off trail, and that you are probably very busy, but you are probably you don't accomplish, or you don't see the results that you really want, right? Jason, that was your case, right? When we started working together, like you were very, very busy, but you felt like you had just too much on your plate, and it was very, very hard for you to just kind of get ahead, right? Your to-do list was humongous, and you couldn't really like see the end of it, right?
Well, the way it was is like I'd have all this stuff to do, and then I'd get through like part of that list by the end of the day. But then by the next day, I would have even more stuff. So it never felt like I completed anything.
Exactly. So you just felt like you were busy, but you never really felt like you were accomplishing anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's like you build this business because you don't want to work a job, right?
Yeah.
But then I end up doing like so much stuff. I'm making less per hour than I would at a job just because I'm not efficient, right?
Yeah, and you're probably just building yourself a nice golden prison. You know what I mean? So without knowing it, at the bottom line, yeah, cool, the money's there, but I don't have the time to do anything else. It consumes my whole life. And more than often, you end up in a place that is not really like aligned with what you want, right? We all start because we want more freedom, right? We want to be free. We want to do what we want, and all of a sudden we realize that, damn, that whole business thing is taking over my life, and I'm not where I want. I don't have the freedom that I want. So it's something that to always keep in mind and keep in sight. So one of the signs that you're off track is you have no clear vision of your destination, right? So more than often, when we start with a clear vision on what we want, as we get in business, we tend to lose sight of it. We tend to be sidetracked with different projects, with different things, with different distracted by different shiny objects, and you end up, as I say, in the fog. You end up in a place where it's very, very hard to see the horizon and see where you're going, right? So if you're there right now and your vision really is not really 100% clear, that's a sign that you're off track with your business. Second is the lack of discipline and consistency. So obviously, always starting and not finish. I think, as entrepreneurs, we are our power to create things and create, offer creative solutions to different problems. That's what sets us apart as persons. However, more than often, like we're going to try to chew more than we can bite, and lack of discipline and consistency is a big problem that I see every single time in the entrepreneurial space. Can't focus, right? As I said, shiny object syndrome, fear of missing out, overflow of ideas, saying yes to every single opportunities. Again, when you're in business, and especially in the early years, I would say like the first 5 years, let's say that you're in business, you don't want to miss out. You're very, very enthusiastic. You feel like you can conquer the world and do everything. And eventually you realize that it's just not possible, right? So you realize that, damn, I should have focused on this instead of this, and this. So it's probably, if you're in that space right now, like, trust me, you're not alone. We've all been through it. But it's one clear sign that you're off track. And the last one is you're operating on pure reactive mode. So an endless to-do list and not enough time. So you pretty much treat things as they come, and you end up with a humongous load of tasks and things to do, which are not necessarily coherent or not necessarily like organized in a way that will allow you to accomplish your goals. There's just a long list of things to do. And first of all, a long list, what it does, it's intimidating, and it's hard to catch up, right? But if you have a list and you have your projects that are organized the right way, it becomes a lot, obviously a lot easier to accomplish everything, right?
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed, like I was the fourth one on that slide. And now at the end of the day, like everything is checked off, I get everything done. And you feel like you had a really productive day, but you also feel very fulfilled too.
Yes.
Instead of like before, I just felt like I was just always behind.
Because that's the thing about quantity and quality, right? I think, and that's especially true in the business world, where we're going to really glorify the hustle. We're going to glorify the productivity. We're going to glorify the, more type of mentality, right? Mm-hmm. I'm more into as I said, efficiency, but also not about quantity, more about quality, which is working on the right things. When you work on the right things, not only are you going to feel like you've accomplished, that you work well, but you're going to feel like you actually accomplished something tangible that is aligned. And that's even more important than producing a shitload of stuff that are not necessarily like the right things that you should be doing right now, right? So, saying no, for example, to the things that are not aligned with what you want is something that, to regain control, that you have to start doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what to do to get back on track? So first of all, establish clarity. Have 100% clarity on where you want to go. What's your destination? What does it look like? Where are you going, right? So obviously I talked about there's a big exercise that takes, many hours to finish, but it's called the big picture exercise. And it helps you clarify really what you want as far as, with your life, what you want your life, your ultimate life to look like. And it's a very powerful exercise because that's the start of, that's the end goal, but the long-term end goal. And from there, we kind of reverse engineer that by working on an annual basis with what we call an annual guideline. And that's what I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So clarity is number one. Habits and routines. Especially for us in the fitness space, we're the ones that should be really, really good with habits and routines, right? If you want to achieve a level of physique, for example, that, is respectable or presentable, especially when you compete on the stage, you have to have these habits. You have to have that routine and that discipline to make it happen. I think bodybuilding for me was one of the biggest gift I ever received, just because it allowed me to really be understanding what do I need to do in order to achieve my goals, and then understanding that, okay, well, it takes me my training routines, and then it takes my diet, and then you break it down to your meals during the day, and then your meals, become, 6 ounces of chicken and things like that, so you have to break it down to the smallest thing in order to achieve the long-term vision and long-term goal. And you only do that with the right, with discipline, and by having habits and routines into your life, right? It's the same thing in business. It's just sometimes it's hard to transcribe, the fitness habits and routines to your business life, to your professional life. So I'm going to show you really how to do that. Strategic boundaries. I said same thing. If you play a game and you have no rules and no boundaries, well, guess what? It's going to get chaotic. Imagine a basketball game where there's no rules, no lines, no boundaries. It's just the whole goal is just to put the ball in the basket. Well, what's going to happen? People will get injured. It will be super chaotic, and it won't make that much sense, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to bring these boundaries to your life as well, whether it's professional or personal, and be very strategic about it, right? So I'm going to show you how to create these strategic boundaries today. And the fourth one is to prioritize. So understanding what's important and what you should be working on, and what you should be doing right now versus what you shouldn't be doing. You probably know the answer, but do you know who this fine gentleman is, Jay?
I actually don't.
You don't?
No.
So but you know him by name for sure. It's Dr. Stephen Covey, and he wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Okay.
And he said something extremely smart. He said the key is not to prioritize your schedule, it's to schedule your priorities, right? And understanding what your priorities are, will allow you to make things happen. So that analogy, so when he started talking about it, and that analogy changed the way I saw the way I was working completely, and it really upgraded my vision of work. It's picture a jar, okay, a bucket, and you have three things. You have sand, you have small rocks, and you have big rocks. And most people are going to put the sand first, right? Which represent all the small things in life, the little things that they keep doing, right? So they're going to pour that into the bucket. Then they're going to take the small rocks, which represent something of bigger importance, greater tasks, bigger tasks. But then they're going to pour that in the bucket second. And third, when that's done, they're going to really take care of all of the big rocks, the really, really important stuff. The space in the jar represents time, right? So when you look at it, if you pour the sand, the small rocks, and the big rocks in that order, more than often you're not going to have enough space, in your jar. If you do the opposite, if you take the big rocks and you put them in your bucket first, then you pour in the smaller rocks. So what's going to happen is that the smaller rocks are going to go, in the holes created by the big rocks, right? And then you pour in the sand, the small stuff, in the bucket, and he's going to infiltrate all the little crevices and holes created by the big rocks and the small rocks. And what you're going to have is a perfectly filled a compact bucket with more than often, some space, right? So that's the way you should think about your priorities. And that's the analogy that really changed the way I approach my day, I approach my projects, and what I really wanted to accomplish. So this way, based on that analogy, I created what I call the productive action method, and based on with the company now called Ethic, and we actually have a planner that we use for that we've created just to support that method. I know you're using it, Jason. And
yeah, actually, I use it every single day. I don't know if anyone can see it, but I'm holding it up right now.
You got the classic black.
Yeah. The classic black.
I'm more of a rich cognac guy.
Yeah, Mike has that one actually. So I have the black ones, he has the cognac, and we don't take each other's.
There you go. Strategic boundaries.
Exactly.
I'm going to show you the productive action method, which is a method that I created for to teach you how to prioritize and win within the next 90 days. So first of all, the thing that you need to do is to create an annual guideline. So remember, I talked to you about the big picture, which is ultimately where how you see your life within 10, 20, 30 years, long term, right? And from there, what you do, you create an annual guideline, which is a course of action for the year, for the next 12 months. So these are the things you want to see become a reality within the next 365 days, right? So I put a maximum of 6 things. It could be less. I mean, obviously there's a limit because I don't want you to have I want this and I want that and I want that and I want that. I don't want you to be in a position of, always wanting more. You're in position of wanting the right things. So if you put 6 things, and it could be, and these are the things that are going to that should be aligned completely. See, there's a line here. It is aligned with what you want, but also with your destination where you want to go, right? So let's say you want to work 20 hours a week. You want to make over $100,000. You want to take 8 weeks of vacation. You might want to launch an online course. I mean, those are just examples, right? I mean, if you're a coach, you might want to stop working one-on-one. If you work in fitness and you're doing personal training and you work with one-on-one clients and you want to leverage that, I mean, you're going to have to stop working one-on-one and do other stuff, whether it's creating an online business or leverage coaching or or something else. And getting my best shape ever. It could be something like another personal goal. So see, like there's no real, it's not all about business, not all about personal. It's about, your work-life environment and how you see that work-life environment in alignment to your big pictures. Does that make sense, Jay?
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you is because in your planner, it's a 90-day planner. So when you write your annual guidelines, is it what you want to accomplish by the end of that year, or is it within a year of you writing that planner? Does that
Got
make
it.
sense?
It could be both. So that's the thing. Like sometimes, you always evolve, right? I work in like the way my brain works. It's like I work with the calendar year. So within the calendar year, I make my goals. But like, let's say, I don't know, I stopped working one-on-one, and I'm in Q2. Let's say, and that goal has been accomplished. I can add another one. That's something that can be reached within the next 12 months, right?
Okay.
So it's something that's always evolving, right? Because with time, as time goes by, some of these goals will be accomplished. And the real key is for you to have alignment, to understand that what I want to accomplish, what I want to see manifest within the next 12 months is aligned with what I want. Because more than often, quick example, a lot of guys, so see, we start in business, we want to work 20 hours a week, we want to make a good income. We want freedom for the most part. I think most of us, that's our main driver. We get into that world and all of a sudden, like especially nowadays with Instagram and social media, we're bombarded with messages that you should make a shit of money and you should drive the fancy cars. And pretty much what you end up doing is you try to keep up with the Joneses, right? And you pivot, at this point from your original goal, right? For me, like freedom was humongous, and I got caught up in the game of business where, yes, I've built pretty sizable businesses, but were they really, really aligned with my definition of success, which is for me, having a lot of time for myself, obviously make good money, but, have a lot of freedom, be there for my kids and not work all the time. Well, guess what? I was definitely not aligned. So at that point I had to make different changes into the way I operated, right? So it's important to always keep that in mind, keep the big picture in mind, and always have your annual guideline, in mind and in sight, so you don't lose, track of it. So then what you're going to be doing is, based on an annual guideline, you're going to have 3 buckets. So the buckets represents the projects that you want to accomplish. They don't necessarily you don't necessarily take one item from your annual guideline and put it into a bucket, right? That's not how it works. You could do it depending on what it is. Let's say it's like launch an online course. Well, maybe launching an online course could be part of your bucket, but you understand that, for example, working 20 hours a week is a result of what your projects are going to be, right? So when you take on a project, for example, when you're going to take on a new project, you're going to ask yourself, will this project contribute to me only working 20 hours a week, right? On the long term, within the next 12 months. So if it's something that you can build, launch, and make sales, like let's say for a very long time, yeah, that could probably, that's very aligned with what you want. If it's something that you're going to have to work 40 hours a week for the next, pretty much like there's no end to it, well, you're not aligned. So it's probably that project that you should be taking on. Do you follow me, Jay, on this one?
Yeah.
So let's take the example of Q1, right? So again, we're working with 90-day timeframes on the buckets. So it could be 1, my online course, which is something you want. 2, a new lead generation funnel, which obviously on the marketing side, you're going to need. And I think that's what you're teaching to your students as well, Jason.
Yeah.
And there's a 3rd bucket that I really like, and it's optional. You don't need 3 full buckets. I mean, you can have, let's say you have a full-time job right now, you're transitioning to an online business. Hey, you can have 1 bucket, for example, right? And that's perfectly fine. One of the buckets that I like to have every single month is called maintenance bucket. So meaning like I have stuff that is working, that generates income, I need to maintain it, right? The myth of building something and then like it's all automated and it's done. I mean, let's be honest, it takes work, it takes, maintenance on things that are working. If you don't stay current, if you don't, keep updating your marketing, things like that, you might not stay relevant, right? So what I call maintenance is maintaining what I already have and what's already working versus trying to create, new stuff all the time, right? So it's a quick bucket that has been like one of my, kind of my secret sauce for longevity is that I take care of what I got now instead of trying to always come up with new stuff and reinvent myself every other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we see here, the 3 buckets. Now we're going to go through so individual buckets. So we're going to take the example of building an online course. Okay, so that's a project you have for this quarter, for the next 90 days. Now you're going to break down, you're going to identify your big rocks. Okay, your big rocks are your milestones, the really important steps that need to be accomplished in order to get there. Okay, so first of all, it could be the brainstorm phase, preparation, video production, and packaging, right? Again, this is an example, but as far as creating an online course, you're going to see like that's pretty much what you need to do. So the 4 big rocks that I showed you, the buckets, you put in the 4 big rocks first. You need to identify what are the big steps, what are the big milestones that are going to need to happen in order for me to have my online course ready. Okay, so you're going to fill each bucket with 4 big rocks. All right, you follow me, Jay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know you know this, but I want to make sure, like, if you have questions for your audience and your people, that you know.
So essentially, what we're doing here is we're taking our goals that we want to achieve for the year, and then we break it down into the 3 things that we need to do that quarter. So the next 3 months. So the next 3 things that we need to do those next 3 months to get us closer to that annual goal and vision that we have. And now we're breaking it down further, each one of those buckets for the quarter. So you had 3 buckets. This is bucket number 1, which was do the course. Now we broke it down into like the 4 big rocks that we need to do, like the 4 big things. And if we accomplish these 4 big things, then the course is accomplished. That's
correct. So now we're going to dig even deeper and break down these big rocks and create these small rocks with that. So we're going to attach really small rocks to these big rocks. So here's a section to complete by. So whenever if you have deadlines, it's always better to have like a clear deadline on when you want things accomplished to keep yourself accountable. And then you're going to attach a maximum of 5 small rocks per big rock. So every single milestone is going to have a maximum of 5 steps that you're going to need to accomplish in order to get there, right? So let's say, I don't know, I want to brainstorm. Well, I'm going to create a research doc. I'm going to find my top 5 competitors. I'm going to study all the pricing of the different courses that are out there. I'm going to create, I'm going to check on the marketing funnels that they used and maybe find a name for my course. Okay. Then I'm going to start preparing my course. So decide on what platform I want to host my course, create the full curriculum of the course, make a production list, which is like, what do I need to produce as far as, let's say, the PDFs, the material, the education, the videos, etc., outline support docs, logos, etc. Again, your list can be different than mine, but overall, this is how that goes. Let's say you want to, so video production is a big one. If you want to do a video-based course, you're going to have to. So video production is going to be one big milestone, one big key step to accomplish your online course. So finding a shooting location might be one small rock, one thing you need to accomplish to get there. Book time slots for recording, find the right equipment, the storyboard for each video, and editing of the video, right? So these are going to need to be accounted for as smaller steps to get there, right? And then it could be packaging, right? Support docs, support docs, PDFs, upload to platform, and then do a test runs. So that's an example. I mean, you're going to have to do the reflection, like reflect on how this is going to work, right? So I want you to train your brain to start looking into a big task, to a big goal, and start gradually, breaking it down. Look at it. What are the 4 big milestones, the 4 big rocks to accomplish to get there? And then you take each individual big rock and then you attach the small rocks to it, right? Most people would think about the sand, all the small things, and they will get discouraged because they're going to feel like, I got so much to do, and there's no clear order or clear organization, or prioritization to what they do. And they end up discouraging themselves, and they end up not procrastinating, and end up not having a done project, right? Mm-hmm. So this is very important to start like reverse engineering how that's going to happen. Okay. So here, if we look at the bucket, we have the big rocks. Now we have the small rocks. And now we're going to work into the execution of it, right? So in the planner, you have what I call a weekly list. So you're going to take, so every single one of these steps, small rocks, those are what we call the productive actions, AKA your priority actions for the day. So here before the first week, before each week, you have a maximum of 7, right? Small rocks, which are your priority actions, AKA productive actions. And you're going to take them from your list and you're going to be putting them there. So let's say usually, obviously, unless you work 7 days a week, but I don't recommend it, you're going to have 7, small rocks. If you work, let's say weekday, Monday to Friday, have 5. All right. And I'm going to show you why. Then there's a list of other tasks. So things that you're going to need to accomplish next week, but you don't know, like you know what they are, but you haven't scheduled them, but you just want to keep them in mind. And usually that can be carried out like from what you've done the past week. Well, you're going to put it on your list for the next week. Okay. Same thing here. There's a maximum of 8 spots, and I'm going to show you why there's a maximum of 8 spots only at the start of the week. And then there's what we call the routines. So the routines are repetitive tasks that keep coming back on a weekly basis. So they could be repetitive tasks or repetitive processes that you need to have, that you have every week. Example, laundry. I don't know, like in general life. What do you want to do? You don't want to do laundry every day. You want to say, okay, well, on Sunday, I do laundry. If you're in fitness, for example, meal prep. Meal prep is huge. Like you don't want to be doing meal prepping every single day. You're probably going to choose one day out of the week, do, batch cook a lot of stuff, 1 or 2 days, and then batch cook a lot of stuff. And then, every morning you do your packing, for example. So that could be every Wednesday and every Saturday, every Sunday, you do a big cook, right? I don't know how you organize your meal, Jason, or if you still do that, but I remember when I was bodybuilding, that was Sunday. Sunday was my meal prep day. And I was batching everything and I was putting everything in portion, freezing, keeping the stuff like for 2 days worth, let's say in the fridge, and freezing the rest. So that was my thing. And it's the same thing in business. You're going to see like you have tasks that keep, coming back. And could be paperwork, it could be calls, it could be meetings, etc. But things that keep coming back every week, there's a spot for that.
Mm-hmm. That's like me. So like Wednesday, I always have podcasts there.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, it's go live on Instagram.
Yes. There you go. That's a perfect example. So if you're working with content marketing, that's an excellent way to do it. So that could be your blog is on Monday, and your podcast on Thursday, and Friday you go live, for example. So for me, like I've put that example, but example on Friday, and that's what I do every single Friday, as I send a personal handwritten card to someone that I know or someone I haven't connected with in a while, or even someone that I admire. And I sit there, I usually work from a coffee shop every Friday, and I write down that card in the afternoon and I post it every Friday. And I do that like systematically every week. And actually it's a high worth activity for me because a lot of people, get back in touch with me. We get into conversations, or people that I look for, that I look at, and that I want to know, for example, they love receiving these. And more than often I started different conversations with people that I wanted to, build a relationship with. So again, it's very strategic, but I needed to be a routine that was in my life, systematically every single week,
Hmm.
right? So productive action is like same thing. I put 5 things here, and these are things that you saw are pretty much like in the first 5 small rocks from the brainstorm phase, right? So right here, I could have that whole big rock, that whole milestone, achieved within a week. Other tasks, so these are things that, one-off tasks, for example, so create a customer support procedure, renew a mastermind membership, listen to a training video, send an invoice to a client, etc. I mean, these come and go, and you're going to see like why there's only 8 to start with. Now I put only 5, but you'll see why. And then like same thing, connect with the peer, connect with an old client, you pay the bills on Tuesday, etc. And they're yours. It's your reality as far as a business owner. There's no clear cut things that routines you need to have. And if you're in content marketing like you, perfect. Write your blog on a certain day, do a video on or a podcast on a specific day every week, and then you can go live on Facebook another day, right? So it's perfect to have that lined up. So this is the daily page. And this is mostly like what I call the sense. So the small stuff, the things that happen every day, the micro things that need to happen. So first of all, I told you the importance of building routines and rituals into your life. And there's one thing that we do every single morning. It's called, so there's a morning ritual that is there in the planner every single morning. So you can put the date there. First things first, and it sounds weird and sounds stupid, but hydration, big glass of water first thing in the morning. That's what I recommend, because most of us walk around daily dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, I mean, you are reducing your cognitive functions and your brain power by quite a bit. And I always say, like, once you put that into your life, where in the morning you wake up, you have a big glass of water, and the way I do it is that I have a big glass of water, drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning. It activates my brain saying like, okay, your day has started, like it's on. But what I also do is right after this, I pour water in a 2-liter jug. And that's my water for the day. So this way, like I'm never dehydrated. I know exactly like, hey, I got my water bottle. I got my first glass of water and I'm ready. Exercise, so always some kind of exercising I would say every single day, whether it's like doing push-ups or going to the gym or playing a sport, try to incorporate that. It doesn't need to be in the morning. I put there in the morning because I want people to remember it, the first thing in the day, but it could be performed later during that day. But at least like it's something that needs to be a priority in your life. Third one is gratitude. So I'm a big fan of cultivating, a mindset of gratitude, being grateful for what you have. There's a little hack that I have that I actually incorporated in this planner, and I'll show you in a minute. But there's gratitude, and there's also meditation, right? So the way I do it, I'm not a big fan. I don't know about you, Jason, but for me, like, I'm not a big fan of meditation on the classic side of it. Like, I don't like being sitting there like for like 30 minutes. For me, my morning meditation is being by myself, more than often early in the morning when my kids are still asleep. I pour myself a cup of coffee and I stay silent for like 15 minutes. So that's after my water, obviously, but I do that. I sit down and I complete what I call the reconnection phrase. If you look on top here, there's one single sentence that I complete every day, every morning. And that's my way for me to be grateful, and also like grateful and mindful, being like, I'm grateful because I'm writing things that I'm grateful for, but also on the meditation standpoint, like just being present with myself. For me, like that's my meditation, right? So whatever floats your boat as far as meditation. I know some people are more traditional, some people are more innovative. Really depends. Like for me, this is what I consider my meditation. So the reconnection phrase goes like this. It says, today I'm grateful for, and I've put an example here, which is, so my wife is a psychotherapist, and she uses that, so gratitude a lot. And as an example, for people that are depressed or even lost maybe a little bit of a joy in their life. So being grateful for what you have, and sometimes like when you're down or you're not in a good mood, like it's going to be very hard for you to say, I don't know what I'm grateful for. Like everything's horrible. And she says, well, be grateful for your 10 fingers. Let's assume like obviously you still have your 2 hands and your 10 fingers, but most people do. Be grateful for these 10 things, right? I mean, think about like if I would chop off your hands or your fingers, how more difficult life, would be, right? But we take that for granted. For us, it's like, oh, I got 2 hands, it's normal. It's freaking miraculous that we have these 10 things, like to grab stuff, to eat, to do everything in life. And I'm super grateful to still have my 10 fingers every day, right? So it's a stupid example, but it shows you like, the extent of how we take things for granted most of the time, right? Mm-hmm. So today I'm grateful for my 10 fingers, and I keep in mind that I have a special talent that not many people have. So same thing. I mean, you could keep in mind like the fact that you are, I'm going to move a little bit because there you go. I got the sun in my face. There you go. So you can keep in mind like the things that you're doing right now, or keep in mind like the destination, the big picture, the annual guideline, but also keeping in mind that, hey, I'm a really good trainer, or I'm really good at creating awesome recipes to help my clients, win, right? If that was me 10 years ago, that's what I would have probably wrote, because that's, the way I started my fitness career, my online fitness marketing career was selling these cookbooks, right? For people involved in fitness. It's because I was a coach, I was a one-on-one coach, and I was not creating bland meal plans. My meal plans were always full of recipes, and my clients were getting exceptional results because the meal plans were not boring. So they were sticking to their meal plans more and getting better results, right? So that's what I would have wrote, right? So it's really up to you, but always keep in mind the important stuff, okay? So that's kind of my hack, like my one sentence that I write every day. I'm not a big fan of writing like 5-6 gratitudes every day and stuff like that. Like I like it very concise and precise and keeping one thing in mind, and also being grateful for one thing every day. So it's easy. We can all do it. And trust me, it makes a big, big difference in your life. And last but not least, in the morning, obviously proper nutrition. I would say, don't feed yourself junk, eat well, have a protein shake, whatever like is healthy for you. Fuel is so important. I mean, it goes without saying in the fitness industry, I would say, but it's for a lot of people, especially in the business world, like a lot of people like they just don't eat or eat crap for breakfast because they're busy, and they don't like remind themselves that, hey, my life is important, my health is important, I only have one of each, you know what I mean? So yeah, so we put that there. Then what we call the productive action of the day. So that's your priority action of the day. So the main focus of your day with the movements to accomplish it. So remember we talked about the small stuff. You can go granular there. Like you can go and write down even the steps, the small steps you need in order to create, like, let's say a research doc. So a research doc, that could be like a spreadsheet, right? So that would be opening a Google spreadsheet. That will be creating different tabs on that spreadsheet. So name, site, offers, pricing, and that will be bookmarking it, because you're going to be researching, you're going to do some market research regarding your course, right? So you can go really granular when it comes to it. You don't have to use it. Some small rocks that's what they are, but you can go very granular. Like sometimes one small rock can be divided into, 9 action points. Right. So the small rocks might not necessarily take 1 day to perform. It might take 3 days. Right. And that's perfectly fine. So all the other tasks that you could have during the day. So remember, I only had 8, because the reason why at the beginning of the week, I only allow you to have 8 other tasks to start the week with is because these keep coming back. So you have to create these strategic boundaries on the number of secondary tasks that you can have in your day. If you don't, your day is going to be full every single day with things that are not aligned with what you want and not going to move the needle towards, what you want to accomplish, right? If you let it happen. That's why I create these boundaries where, hey, you start a week with a limited number of secondary tasks, and every day you can only have a maximum of 4. That's it. And at first it sounds like weird because you operate mostly on reactive mode. But once you integrate these strategic boundaries, then you start to be a little bit more selective on the things you accept to do, right? So this is where it's a training thing. Sometimes it takes I would say on average, it takes a quarter to 1 to 2 quarters to really, really integrate that and for your brain to do, fully accept it and adopt it. So it could be like pick up dry cleaning, could be another thing. Wish happy birthday to Abby, and the routine task for Monday could be reviewing KPIs, key performance indicator, if you have a business and you need numbers. Right? Does that make sense, Jason? Is there something you want to add to it on the way you use it, or how, from your experience in the past, how you've been using these, the daily planner?
Yeah. So first thing is you have it on Monday written out. Mm-hmm. I would write it on Friday for my next Monday. Yes. Or Sunday night. So I would write it the night before. But I think you're going to talk about that when you get into the evening routine anyway.
Yes.
Then also, for that productive action of the day, whatever that is, that's my first thing that I work on that day. And my phone is off. My phone isn't even in the same room. It's off in a different room, plugged in. I have my music on, and my 100% focus is finishing this productive action before I do any of these routine tasks, before I do any of these other tasks.
There you go. So that's what we teach. We have a course, an online course called the Done by Noon course. And I think that's the one you've integrated the Done by Noon method a few quarters ago, right?
Yeah, I showed you my calendar after I did it. I even color coded it the way that you said it. And that was a game changer. People say the word game changer a lot and they don't mean it. Yeah. I mean it. That was a game changer.
Yeah. It's something that's complementary. This is next level to what I'm teaching you today. But once you can have the clear time schedule every day, when you schedule your priorities pretty much, it's a game changer. It's a true game changer. Yeah. And obviously I'm going to cover that, but doing your planning the day before for the day after is always the best way to go. So every day there's a couple of features on the daily planner. There's the schedule. So obviously, I rarely use that section because I'm more of a Google Calendar type of guy. But if you're more of a manual person, you can have your calendar, you can write down your things every day. So it could be a weekly team meeting at 9 a.m. on Mondays, and it could be a yoga class at 6 p.m. You can write it down. Then this client work. So if you have clients, you can have a time slot of 3 hours to do it. Really up to you. You can use it as you wish. Same thing, productive action, launch. You can go really granular. So that's one thing to do it. If you want to take a look at the Done by Noon course, it's something that we really focus on the time management side of things. There's a section for notes. So it's pretty much a free section where you can write whatever you want, different notes or anything like that. Need coffee for the office. You can draw some charts if you want. You can write Rick's new number. It's not, so don't call this number. It's not a real number. And I don't know, if you ask for Rick, I don't know how many people I've done this. I don't know if people have done that before. I've done this training before. I wonder if people know the number and call for Rick.
Some guy in Montreal is picking up.
It's a 514, so it's a Montreal number. Yeah. So I don't know, probably someone in Montreal would pick up, but it's not Rick. There you go. So you can write down that. Now, there's one thing too, when I talk about strategic boundaries and prioritization, one of the big problems we have as entrepreneurs is our overflow of ideas, right? So I have placed in the daily planner a section called the idea box. So let's say I have an idea for something. Let's say it's an article. It could be whatever idea you have. You can write it down in this small box, right? So conveniently, it's limited by space, right? Because I want you to start curating your ideas as much as possible. So the thing is that you're limited by space on that small box right there. But also, I want you to think 2 to 3 times before actually writing it down. More than often, we have an idea, we're going to start executing on it right away without even thinking, and that's going to be detrimental on our end goal, right? So let's say you have an idea of an article, 3 simple ways to improve your copywriting skills. Boom, right there, right? So whatever you have as far as ideas, put in the idea box, and I'll show you what to do with the idea box after that. Then we have the evening checklist. First of all, inbox 0. So getting your inbox clean and to 0 every single day. You've taken the Inbox Freedom System course, right, Jace?
Well, you've emailed me and you've gotten my autoresponder, so you tell me.
So we have a process for that as well. We had another course for email management for especially if you use Gmail, and super, it's easy to implement, but also it's another game changer where most people work, with their inbox. So their inbox becomes their to-do list, and it's a big, big mistake. So keeping a clean inbox is always the best way to do so, best way to go. So if you can be done with your emails for the day, once that checked, emails are done, and you're done for the day. Even though you might not be all caught up with your emails, once that checked, off-site.
And I like how you put this in the evening, because a lot of people, they start the day with the emails and then they get nothing done.
Yeah. Well, you can have different slots, of time. You can allow yourself to have like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night, depending. Like you can, but as long as you're strict with that. That means most people, the way they go with emails, they're very reactive. So they're going to hear that ding on their phone, they're going to look at it, and they're going to reply right away. I think it's a big mistake when it comes to being productive and efficient. And you should have dedicated times for emails, and there should be clear cutoff for emails as well. The big problem is that most people were never going to be cut up with their email list, right? So that's why we have a system for that. But yeah, it's very important to have do that as much as possible to be done with your emails at the end of the day. You're going to purge the idea box. So you have, let's say, articles. There's a section at the end of, so there's multiple ways to do it, but there's this big section at the end of the planner that's called the idea box, where you can store your ideas, and you're going to be reviewing these ideas at the end of the quarter, meaning your quarter is already pretty much decided, right? You're going to work on when you're going to start working on the next quarter, you can look back at these ideas you had for the future and decide if they're aligned or not. And more than often, once you train yourself not to be reactive or react to ideas right away, you're going to realize that most of the ideas that you have on a daily basis are not worth being pursued, right? So it's actually a funny thing. The first couple of quarters you're doing, you're like, wow, I can't believe I had that idea. That was a stupid one, right? You're going to think about 9 of 10 ideas. That's what you're going to think about. And it's funny now, the more you're going to go, I mean, I've been using that method for many years now. My idea box now, like that section at the end of my planner, is very, very, very empty now. I think I got a couple of notes, but because I train my brain to be selective. I train my brain to not act on every single idea. And I train my brain to not get excited about too many ideas. You know what I mean? So as I go, it's a training, but now my idea box gets smaller and smaller because I'm very, very focused on the task I need to accomplish to reach my goals versus being distracted by, shiny objects, right? Third item is to review the notes. There's one that I really like is putting your phone on silent or putting your phone on airplane mode at a specific time each day. So you have a clear cutoff. Let's say you end up stop working at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. You shut off your phone, right? People, same thing. FOMO is a big thing, and one of the reasons why people procrastinate or are not aligned. I think it's a big mistake to be connected all the time, and you need to disconnect to be more productive. So For me, it's a big thing. It's hard for the younger generation to just unplug, but trust me, it's there. I've put that into the evening checklist because I think it's very important that you learn to disconnect at least once a day. And then you do your list for the next day. So you prepare your day for the Tuesday. So you're going to put like your next productive actions, aka priority action, aka small rock, and then maybe other tasks, secondary tasks you have scheduled for tomorrow. What's your routine for Tuesday? And if you want to put notes in your schedule, now you're ready. Now there you go. Your day's over. You can move on, right? So every week, what we do, so you go through that through the week. After each week, there's a little review every week. So it's like a quick 5 to 10 minute review where you review your annual guideline and your quarterly buckets. You list your 3 best small wins of the week. So it's not about the grand big things. It's about mostly the small things. So for example, it could be like, oh, I ate clean all week. I completed all my productive actions, and no tech in the evening. Like I tried that, and actually that was a game changer, like you would say. So those could be like the 3 small wins of your week. How you're going to celebrate them. So I'm a big fan of celebrating even the smallest wins. I love routines and rituals. My wife and I try to have a date night once a week, and we go to one of our favorite restaurants every Saturday, and that's usually the way we celebrate little things. Like I can share with her, my small wins. She shares with me her small wins, and we celebrate that way. So it's fantastic. Obstacles, so it could be like still too much reactivity, or so not enough water through the day. Those are just examples, but it's an exercise of self-awareness as well, like understanding where you're winning and where where are the areas that you could improve and how you will actually do it. There's a quick self-awareness scorecard. So how do you feel like energy overall? Were you clear and focused during the week? Did you feel productive? And your overall satisfaction for the week. So again, that's little exercise, little thing, but it's just a small reflection you can have about this every week. Trains your brain to like understand yourself a little bit better, paying attention to these things, right? And how you will improve, right? It's cool. Yeah, I had some obstacles. Like, okay, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to check emails only at 3 p.m. I'm going to bring a water bottle for me at the office. So see, like I had obstacles, but now I have clear action plan on how I'm going to improve that. I'm going to revise my notes. So there's a section for notes I'm going to show you, and you make your next week's list. We also a couple of features. So we have a calendar, like a complete layout, like for each month that you can complete. So if you want to have an overview of your month, you can have that. Again, I don't use that section that much because I'm more of a Google Calendar guy. So everything is in Google Calendar. But if you're more of a pen and paper type of person and you want to lay that down in your planner, please do so. It's there. There's a notes section at the end of every week, as well as a blank section where you can write notes, draw whatever you want. It's pretty much an open zone to put stuff down. Let's say, hey, had that. Let's say I purged my notes. So I had that note on my daily, on the daily side of things. Let's say here. Whoops. Let's say here, and I'm at the end of each week. There's that section about notes, and you can put that there. Okay. If you don't want to insta act on it, you can put it there. The idea box, conveniently located at the end of your planner. It's there. You can categorize your ideas and come back to these ideas later. There you go. So it could be articles. Oh, I'm sorry. Like this one should be there. Articles, 3 simple ways to improve. So it could have like, when I have ideas for articles, I just categorize, like have an articles category. I'm going to write down these ideas for articles. Cool. So these are the plan. Like, so if you are interested in the planners, we got, you get 2 options pretty much. You get the annual pack, which is pretty much it's pretty much buy 3, you get 1 free. So you save 25% on the annual packs. We have 2 colors. We have the black one, like the classic. We call it the black diamond, and we have different, like it's diamond shaped cover, which is really nice. And this one's the deluxe rich cognac cover, which is my favorite. That's the one I use. And we offer free shipping on the annual plan. If you want to order a single planner, that's fine as well to try it out. To get these planners, you go to ethic.co and because Jay's great, we got a coupon code for you to get an extra 10% off. So if you take the annual planner, you already get 25% off. Plus, you can get an extra 10% off with the coupon code FitProfits10. Right, so an additional 10% off, and you just put that into the coupons section during checkout, and there you go. So if you have any questions, guys, like don't hesitate. Like friends or students of Jay's are always welcome, and we answer to all of their questions, obviously. So david@ruel.com if you want to get in touch, want more information or anything else. Or contact Jay, and Jay has me on speed dial, so we're good.
Yeah,
covered.
Yeah, I'm always sending you pictures of me when I'm smoking cigars.
That's what people usually do, and I always appreciate it.
That's good. Yeah, it's like I show you pictures of cigars or pictures of me using the planner or other people using the planner. It's like I bought like an annual one. And whenever people come over, they're like, ask me like, what's this planner? And I'm like, oh, I got some in my closet. So I got like a box of them in my closet. I just give them to them.
That's why I saw so many orders from you. Mm-hmm. You keep giving them away.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, so if you want a free planner, go to Jason's house. So bring pizza to Jason, and it will give you a free planner. You have to go to his house.
Yeah. Pizza or cookies. Usually people bring me cookies.
I like it. Or cigars could work too.
Yeah, cigars could work too. Or if you can't come over, you can just go to ethic.co and use the coupon code FitProfits10 and grab your planner. Obviously, I asked Dave to do this training because this planner completely changed my life, completely changed my business, and I wanted to share this with everyone. I think it's great. And it's something that I use every day. If you see my stories on Instagram, I literally use this freaking planner every single day. So it's pretty awesome. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, you got to get it.
Thanks, man. Well, it was fun to teach what we do best, to your audience and your crowd. Always a pleasure. And if you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate. And thanks for. I don't get to say that often to you, but thank you for the continued support and continued friendship over the years, man. I mean, it's always fun to collaborate with you on many levels.
Yeah, thanks, man. Likewise with yourself. It's great. It's amazing to talk to you in person. Well, almost in person, but we will talk in person soon.
Very soon, my friend. All right. I got to run. I got my little ones coming. I hear crying in the background. But again, if there's anything we can do, you can email or get in touch with Jay, and we'll get your questions answered.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this.
No problem. Thank you so much.